Welcome back to Late to Finance MD. If this is your first time, I'm Chrissy. I am a pediatrician and I paid off $209,163.49 of student loans for medical school in exactly 3 years on a pediatrician salary that averaged about $130,000. I'm coming to you today with priorities for early career physicians. So these are people obviously just out of residency, early in career. These are the things you need to think about for the best positioning financially after residency. The first is we need umbrella insurance. If we're going to get in a car wreck or something happens to us, we do not want to be sued. So this would be insurance that's actually relatively cheap that will give you $1 million, $3 million, $5 million should anything happen. At that same place where you're buying umbrella insurance, you should be getting term life insurance. If you were to lose your life, to be able to go on and function, or who wouldn't be functional without your income, it is important to have term life insurance. The most expensive insurance that you need is disability insurance. And this is, I think mine is around $3,000 every year. Hi, Editing Chrissy here. My section on disability insurance was a little weird, so I wanted to just come in and say the basic things. Disability insurance or long-term disability insurance is crucial for every physician. You want to be able to have your income that you would otherwise have, whether you get ill or are just unable to perform the function of your job. So for a surgeon, you're going to get own occupation, insurance for a surgeon. And if you are unable to do surgery, you can still get that income that you would get as a surgeon performing procedures, even if you decide, okay, I'll just do, I'm going to be a professor, or just do something completely random. I went back and went to law school instead because I can still argue, but I just can't perform procedures anymore. Disability insurance is so crucial because, you'll get policies for accidental death and dismemberment and all that stuff that'll come with usually whatever position you take, but it's the disabilities that happen often and that often really disrupt the careers, and that can be sometimes it's depression, mental health issues. So there are many different riders. Some of them are like unnecessary. I, for instance, got a rider that would help me pay my medical student loans should I become, injured, ill, whatever, couldn't perform as a pediatrician, which is probably really unnecessary. So anyway, back to the video. If you watch the video about residency, I discussed the importance of getting a disability insurance in residency. When you are finished with residency and you actually start doing your job and your pay increases, you are paying for more disability insurance, because if you were to not be able to work in your job, you want to be able to cover those expenses. Your job might come with some disability insurance, but it's not going to be enough to cover what you need. So if you have a budget, you'll know, I need, at least $5,000 to live, and then this much to cover my student loans if you're paying them back. But it's important to be able to know how much you need so that you can get the proper amount of disability insurance. The second thing that you should think about when you are leaving residency is converting your 403B, which you should have as a resident in most of these nonprofit programs. So if you can, when you are basically at the least amount you're going to be making for your working lifetime, you can convert that 403B to a Roth IRA, pay money for that conversion. So you're paying taxes to convert it, but this is your lowest income you'll ever have. So you can pack money away into that Roth IRA instead of, just having, your 403B that you need to transfer to your new job, which is fine too. But that money in that Roth IRA can grow tax-free. It's exactly what I did. And I have more money in my Roth IRA than I otherwise would had I not done the conversion. The last financial priority I'll talk to you about, and there are so many, I can't express to you how many different priorities there are, but I'm just listing a couple ones that you should think about. is to not get comfortable with debt. Too often you see physicians who, have their debt for basically the length of their life. It's like a pet for them. When I discovered finance, it was through a podcast where a physician couple paid off, over $600,000 of student loans between the both of them. And it inspired me because I had never thought like, oh, you pay loans off, you can accelerate your loan process and pay them off early. So that's what, after listening to them, I got really inspired to pay off my loans from graduate school. If you listen to my first or watch my first couple of videos, I talked about a little bit about my life prior to medicine. But I accelerated that loan payment, got rid of those, used that money, to build an emergency fund that was otherwise going to loans, to build an emergency fund. But when I got out of residency, it was really important for me to pay my loans. And of course, to do that, especially on a pediatrician salary, which was not that high. I started at $125, I think, when I got out of residency, which again, not small for the typical American salary, but small compared to other physicians. But I was able to pay off those loans in 3 years because I made the sacrifice of living with my mother. And I do recognize that it's a lot of privilege actually to first of all, love my parents and to have the opportunity to live with them without having to pay a cent in utilities and rent. Until I paid my loans off, and then I paid a lot of rent and utilities. Anyway, that's another story. But whatever you can do, whether it's like living right next to work or, decreasing costs in food, anything you can do, you can get that debt just out of the way, even if it is low interest debt. I think mine started at like 4% and I refinanced it so many times. In the end, it was close to maybe like 2 or 3%, but I still wanted it gone. So after paying off my loans, I was able to contribute the max to my 401k, complete backdoor Roth IRAs. And then I was just piling money into my brokerage account. Oh, an HSA. Don't forget about the HSA, triple tax savings. And then I was able to just pack money into a brokerage account. So I wouldn't be me if I didn't say something about making sure you are, tracking your spending, trying to kind of live like a resident for 3 to 5 years. And that's, I think, on any salary, like even if you do become, the highest paid neurosurgeon ever, if you can live like a resident for 3 to 5 years, as the White Coat Investor suggests, I think it really does help you grow slowly into your money and really pack in some savings before, you're doing other things like wanting to buy the Lambo, wanting to do whatever it is that you want to do with that great, increase in your income that comes so quickly. Just make sure you check out the videos about living like a resident, living like a medical student, because of course there's some, little pearls in that for anyone. But until next time, you guys have a good one.